Imagine the fog-shrouded streets of Victorian London, where gas lamps flicker dimly against the night. In the autumn of 1888, a shadowy figure stalked the impoverished alleys of Whitechapel, leaving a trail of horror that would captivate the world for over a century. He was known as Jack the Ripper, the world's first media-sensationalized serial killer. But who was he? What drove him? And with modern science closing in, could we finally unmask him in 2025? Welcome to this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and let's unravel the enigma together. To understand Jack the Ripper, we have to step back into the squalor of late 19th century London. The East End's Whitechapel district was a melting pot of desperation. Overcrowded with immigrants, Irish fleeing famine, Jewish refugees escaping pogroms in Eastern Europe, it housed around 80,000 people in cramped, filthy conditions. Poverty was rampant. Common lodging houses crammed dozens into single rooms for pennies a night. Alcoholism, crime, and prostitution were everyday realities. Estimates suggest up to 1,200 women worked the streets just to survive. This was the era of social reform movements, but Whitechapel was a forgotten corner. Unemployment soared, and tensions boiled over with events like Bloody Sunday in 1887, where police clashed with protesters. Anti-Semitism was rife, fueling rumors and riots. It was in this chaotic, dimly lit world that the Ripper emerged, preying on vulnerable women. His crimes didn't just shock London, they exposed the city's underbelly to the world, thanks to a burgeoning press hungry for sensational stories. Historians generally agree on 5 canonical victims, women whose murders share chilling similarities: throats slashed, bodies mutilated with what seemed like surgical precision, often in public or semi-public spots. These weren't random acts, they escalated in brutality, suggesting a killer growing bolder. First, Mary Ann Nichols, 43, found on August 31, 1888 in Bucks Row. A mother of 5 fallen on hard times, she'd been drinking that night. Her throat was cut deeply and her abdomen slashed. The Ripper's signature. Just over a week later, on September 8th, Annie Chapman, 47, was discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. Known as Dark Annie, she was a widow struggling with alcoholism. Her body showed even more mutilation. Organs removed, including her uterus. The precision led police to suspect someone with medical knowledge. Then came the infamous double event on September 30th. Elizabeth Stride, 44, a Swedish immigrant nicknamed Long Liz, was found in Dutfield's yard with her throat cut but minimal mutilation, perhaps interrupted. Less than an hour later, Catherine Eddowes, 46, was killed in Mitre Square. Her face was slashed, abdomen opened, and kidney and uterus taken. Eddowes, a casual prostitute, had just been released from police custody for drunkenness. The final canonical victim, Mary Jane Kelly, 25, was murdered on November 9th in her room at 13 Miller's Court. The youngest and most gruesomely eviscerated, her body was almost unrecognizable. Heart removed, tissues placed around the room. Kelly, an Irish immigrant with a reportedly beautiful singing voice, represented the peak of the Ripper's savagery. Were there more? Some link earlier killings like Martha Tabram, stabbed 39 times on August 7, or later ones like Alice Mackenzie in 1889. But the canonical 5 formed the core, united by method and location. These women weren't just statistics, they were daughters, mothers, survivors of a harsh world. Their stories humanized the horror, reminding us the Ripper targeted the marginalized. The killings unfolded over what became known as the Autumn of Terror. Each struck between midnight and dawn, in areas teeming with people yet shrouded in darkness. The Ripper's modus operandi: approach victims, likely soliciting, strangle or slit throats to silence them, then mutilate. No screams were heard, suggesting speed and surprise. The mutilations grew bolder, from simple slashes to organ removal, hinting at anatomical knowledge. Was he a surgeon? A slaughterhouse worker? Theories abounded. The press amplified the fear. Newspapers like The Star sold millions with lurid details, coining Jack the Ripper from a letter we'll discuss soon. Public panic ensued. Vigilance committees patrolled streets, rewards were offered, and xenophobia spiked. Suspects included Jewish immigrants and foreigners. The murders highlighted Victorian society's ills: gender inequality, poverty, and ineffective policing in a pre-forensic era. Adding to the mystique were hundreds of letters sent to police and papers claiming to be from the killer. Most were hoaxes, but 3 stand out. The Dear Boss letter, received September 27, 1888, mocked police. "I am down on whores, and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled." Signed, Jack the Ripper, it popularized the name. A postcard followed on October 1st, Saucy Jackie, referencing the double event before details were public, raising questions. Most chilling, the From Hell letter to George Lusk of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee on October 16th, with half a human kidney preserved in spirits. It claimed, "From hell, catch me when you can." Tests suggested it could be Eddowes' kidney, but doubts persist. These communications, whether real or not, turned the Ripper into a media monster, blending fact with fiction. Led by Inspector Frederick Aberline, the Metropolitan Police interviewed over 2,000, investigated 300 suspects, and detained 80. They conducted house-to-house searches, used bloodhounds, and even disguised officers as women. But forensics were rudimentary. No fingerprints, no DNA. Key figures like Chief Inspector Donald Swanson coordinated, but leads fizzled. Suspects were cleared by alibis. The case file, dubbed the Whitechapel Murders, included 11 killings from 1888-1891, but focus narrowed to 5. Public outcry led to Police Commissioner Charles Warren's resignation. Despite efforts, the trail went cold. No arrests, no closure. Over 100 suspects have been named, blending fact and fantasy. Early ones: Montague John Druitt, a barrister who drowned himself in 1888, Michael Ostrog, a Russian con man, and Aaron Kosminski, George Chapman, a poisoner hanged in 1903. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish-Jewish barber with schizophrenia, institutionalized in 1891. Police memos from 1894 named him as a strong suspect, citing a witness ID he allegedly threatened women. Francis Tumblety, an American quack doctor who fled London, or James Maybrick, linked via a debunked diary. Fast forward to forensics. In 2014, author Russell Edwards bought a shawl allegedly from Eddowes' crime scene at auction in 2007. DNA tests by Dr. Jari Luhalainen matched blood to Eddowes' descendant and semen to a Kosminski relative, mitochondrial DNA suggesting a link. Published in the Journal of Forensic Sciences in 2019, it pointed to Kosminski. But critics pounced. Chain of custody issues. Was the shawl really there? Contamination risks and mitochondrial DNA's limitations. It excludes suspects but doesn't uniquely identify. In 2024, the journal issued an expression of concern after data loss and methodological flaws were revealed. Raw DNA files vanished, preventing verification. Yet, in early 2025, Edwards doubled down, claiming a 100% match with advanced testing, including from Kosminski's brother's great-great-granddaughter. He and Eddowes' descendant Karen Miller demand a new inquest for legal confirmation. Descendants of both back it, seeking closure and justice. As of September 2025, no inquest yet, but it's reignited debate. Kosminski fits. Lived nearby, had homicidal tendencies, matched eyewitness descriptions, brown hair, eyes. Barber surgeons had anatomical skills. He died in 1919 in an asylum. Skeptics like author Hallie Rubenhold argue the prostitute label is myth. Many victims weren't, and focus should be on social context. Recent X discussions highlight anniversaries, like Annie Chapman's murder on September 8th, with users sharing photos and theories. Posts from historians like Mickey Mayhew note rare victim photos, keeping the case alive. Jack the Ripper birthed modern true crime. Books like The Complete Jack the Ripper, films, tours in Whitechapel, even games. He symbolizes Victorian fears, urban decay, sexuality, the unknown. But it's evolved. Focus shifts to victims via works like Rubenhold's The Five. In 2025, with DNA drama, podcasts and docs explode. Banfield's episode on Edwards' claims went viral. Jack the Ripper endures because he was never caught, a ghost in the machine of justice. If Kosminski is confirmed, it closes a chapter, but mysteries linger. Motive. More victims. The 2025 push for an inquest could rewrite history. What do you think? Is it Kosminski or another twist? Like, comment, share your suspect. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more unsolved mysteries. Stay curious. Stay safe.